Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the RotoBaller Radio Waiver Wire Series. I'm your host, Anthony Aniano, back after a one-week hiatus to take a look at the Week 11 waiver wire from the hitter's perspective for the week starting Monday, June 7th. Guys, don't forget, head over to rotoballer.com right now and check out everything we have there. The main page, the premium package, the expert chats, whatever you're looking for in whatever sport you are playing fantasy sports in, we have it for you. Football, baseball, basketball, MMA, esports, NASCAR, PGA, you name it, as well as sports betting. rotoballer.com, the place to be. Sign up for any of our premium packages using the promotional code ACES. Save yourself a little bit of money. Get a nice little discount on that premium package. Whether baseball for the rest of the year, you're preparing for fantasy football season, whichever sport you prefer, ACES will get you that discount on any premium package. And guys, don't forget, weekly fantasy baseball is here. Love the strategy of season-long fantasy sports, but yet live for the short-term excitement of DFS? Then be sure to try out weekly fantasy baseball contests on Owner's Box. Head on over to rotoballer.com/box and sign up today. Our friends at Owner's Box are hooking you up. All new users get up to a $500 deposit match bonus and a free RotoBaller Premium Pass at a $99 value. We'll be hosting weekly free roll contests on Owner's Box as well, which are free to enter with lots of awesome prizes to the winners. Head on over to rotoballer.com/box for all the details and sign up today. All right, everybody. We're now in early June. We're preparing for the week, like I said, starting June 7th. And time to take a look at some waiver wire hitters who can help us for the next couple of weeks. Now, let's start behind the plate. The options weren't great. For those who are new to the show, I use Yahoo roster percentages. Try to keep it at 40% or less. Sometimes I'll mention somebody who's rostered in a higher percentage than 40%. Two catchers. I don't love them, but right now they're swinging a hot bat, and because of that, we have to pay attention. Tom Murphy of the Seattle Mariners. 3% rostered on Yahoo. He's a freebie, okay? 2020 didn't play. In 2019, he did hit 273 with 18 home runs. Give you a little bit of hope for this year, but he was a huge disappointment. But now the bat is heating up. Although still only hitting a atrocious 170 on the season, over his last 14 days, he is hitting 296 with 2 homers, 5 RBIs, and 5 runs scored. The batting average starting to come around. You don't expect anybody to hit 170 for the season. You're not long for the major leagues if that is the case. Okay, he does showing some pop, 6 homers, 14 runs, 11 RBIs on the year. Okay, but look short term now, guys. You can't base your waiver wire ads on a full season perspective at this point. It doesn't make sense. Players get off to terrible starts. Some players heat up over the summer months. All right, so ignore that 170. Take a look at that 296. I don't expect it to stay 296, but if we could get 250 with a little bit of pop, Tom Murphy can be a useful catcher in a daily league at the very least the rest of the season. Same with Jorge Alfaro of the Miami Marlins, who was injured for a good portion of the season. He's only played in 19 games this season. Now, on the season, in those 19 games, he's hitting 246 with a homer and 5 RBIs. Okay, that homer has come over the last 14 days where he's hitting 273. Alfaro is useful, obviously, in a 2-catcher format. Desperation play behind the plate. If you've been scrambling, maybe it was a Travis d'Arnaud was your catcher at the start of the season, and now you're scrambling and have been scrambling throughout the season to make up for it. Okay, Jorge Alfaro swinging a decent bat. Brian McCann was dropped across the board in many leagues. We know he's scorching hot. Not mentioning him right now as he's over 50% rostered. All right, let's take a look at some corner infield options. First, third base type of players. Some of these players may have other eligibility as well. One of the things as I compiled my list here today was many of the players I had were infield and outfield eligibility, corner and middle infield eligibility. As injuries continue to mount in Major League Baseball, players are playing more and more positions than I think they have in the past. Now, one of the hottest hitters in baseball right now, Jonathan Schoop of the Detroit Tigers. Okay, what I love about him is he is corner and middle infield eligible. First base, second base. Only 29% rostered, and right now scorching, and I mean scorching hot. He's not even right now a ad for bench depth. You add him and you get him in your lineup while he's riding this hot streak. Like I said, 29% rostered. Over the last 14 days, he's hitting .412 with 6 homers, 12 RBIs, and 8 runs scored, batting fourth in that Detroit lineup, okay? On the season, it's a respectable .261 batting average with 9 homers, 26 RBIs, and 23 runs scored. On-base percentage isn't great. It's only .312. But remember, this is not necessarily a fluke, especially in the power department, okay? He's hit 20 or more home runs 3 times in his career. Remember when he was in Baltimore 4 or 5 years ago, it was over 30 homers and over 100 RBIs. Since then, he's kicked around. He's shown some pop in Minnesota and various places. Well, that pop seems to have returned. In a league right now where offense is struggling, Jonathan Schoop is crushing the ball, just flat out. That's where it is. Now, keep in mind, in the shortened season last year, he did hit .278. So that .261 isn't that fluky a number either. He's a good hitter. Came up as a second baseman. Now is playing some first base for Detroit, giving him corner and middle infield eligibility. And he's got to not only be added, but inserted in your lineup right now because the numbers are outstanding. Okay? Another player who was given up on early this season, and is the reason he's now on the list. I couldn't talk about him before because his rostership was higher, but it continued to drop, and now it's starting to rise again. And that's Ryan Mountcastle of the Baltimore Orioles, the second-year player, one of the top prospects of recent past coming through that Orioles system. Last season makes his debut and hits .333, and everybody loved him and everybody drafted him. Okay, now on the season he's hitting .238, and that caused that rostership to drop, and it's currently sitting a little higher than the 40% I usually mention, 45%. But right now, get on board and get a waiver claim in. He's one of my top waiver claims if he's available. I have him in a ton of leagues. Thankfully, I never dropped him because over the last 14 days, he's hitting .314 with 4 of his 7 home runs on the year. 11 of his 27 RBIs are over the last 14 days. Now, he's even sprinkled in 3 stolen bases this season, okay? So, again, another situation is you look big picture and you see .238, 7 homers, 27 RBIs. You're not overly impressed. When you shrink that sample size down and you say, okay, .314, 4 homers, 11 RBIs, you say he was a top prospect. He hit .333 in his major league debut. There's a lot to like for Mountcastle going forward, hitting 6th in that Baltimore lineup. And like we said, 45% rostered and gives you first base, which also means corner infield, and outfield eligibility, which is nice because I think a lot of people are scrambling looking for 4th and 5th outfielders right now. Patrick Wisdom of the Chicago Cubs. Who? Yeah, that's what I said. Patrick Wisdom has come up, got promoted May 25th. Not the long-term help that maybe a Ryan Mountcastle could give you as a young top-tier prospect. Okay, Patrick Wisdom called up May 25th. He's 29 years old. Okay, this has been a career minor league type player. Cubs promote him, put him at third base. Chris Bryant been playing the outfield. And Wisdom has done nothing but hit since that call-up on May 25th. His last 14 days are the same as his season numbers. He's hitting .407, 4 homers, 5 RBIs, 6 runs scored. He's stolen a base, and he's hitting 6th or 7th in that Cubs lineup, which is playing very good ball. Sitting at 25% rostered already. And Patrick Wisdom continuing to rake, and the opportunity still presents himself. You're hitting .407, you're going to stay in the lineup. That's just the bottom line. And right now, that's where Wisdom is. It's not going to cost you much. It's not the name that a Mountcastle is or the super hotness of a Jonathan Schoop. But nonetheless, Patrick Wisdom, corner infield, first, third base eligible, getting at bats for the Cubs, something to pay attention to. Okay? So when I take a look big picture at these corner infielders, long rest of the season, give me Mountcastle, Jonathan Schoop 2, Wisdom comes in third for those players. Now, take a look at some middle infielders. Okay, 2 or 3 of them I like. Willi Castro of the Detroit Tigers. swinging a hot bat over the last 14 days. Last season, he crushed the ball for Detroit. Had a nice season. Okay, hit 349. Again, big picture, it doesn't look pretty. It's 231, 4 homers with 4 homers and 19 RBIs for Willi Castro. Shrink that sample size down, like I've mentioned. Over his last 14 days, he's hitting 344, matching that 349 he hit last season for Detroit. 2 of his 4 home runs, 9 of his 19 RBIs. He's stolen a base over the last 14 days. Hitting in the bottom of the Detroit lineup, hitting 8th or 9th, and now love the eligibility. Second base, shortstop, and third base, giving you middle and corner infield eligibility, and sitting at only a 10% rostership for the Detroit Tigers. That 231, to me, is more of a fluke than the 344. But let's cut the difference. Let's project him as a 290 hitter the rest of the way. A little bit of speed, just a touch of pop there as well for Willi Castro. Amed Rosario of the Cleveland Indians. Terrible spring. They tried him in the outfield. He does have second base and outfield eligibility. Andres Jimenez was terrible, lost the grip of the shortstop job. Rosario now takes over for Cleveland. He was one of the key pieces in the Lindor trade. And again, has been very hot over the last 14 days, hitting 324. And he is my guy if you need stolen bases right now. Rosario is one of the top options out there on the waiver wire. Only 21% rostered. He's got 5 stolen bases on the season, 2 over the last 14 days, mixing in a 324 batting average over the last 14 days with 7 runs scored, 5 RBIs, and a home run. On-base percentage, not great for the season at only 315, and the batting average, 247. Rosario showed flashes with the Mets. He also showed a propensity to swing at that low and away slider that he had no shot at hitting. Okay, that's always been his issue. But nonetheless, the speed plays, 5 stolen bases on the year. He's hitting second in that Cleveland lineup and is now starting to produce and cementing himself as the Cleveland shortstop the rest of the way. A terrific shortstop middle infield option going forward. Philadelphia Phillies leadoff hitter, Odubel Herrera, another middle infielder and outfield eligible player, similar to Amed Rosario. Okay, 24% rostered, batting leadoff like I mentioned, hitting 267 on the year with a 336 on base percentage, 3 stolen bases. He's got 2 of his 4 home runs over the last 14 days, scoring runs with 15 runs scored on the season, 24% rostered. So when I look at these middle infielders, give me Rosario first, give me Willi Castro second, and give me Odubel Herrera third. Unless you need an outfielder, right? Because Rosario gives you more, they all give you different types of flexibility. Willi Castro, corner and middle. Rosario, Herrera, middle and outfield eligibility. So it really depends in some ways on what you need for your roster. 2 other outfield-only eligible players, 2 veterans who we've talked about for years in fantasy baseball. The first one is Justin Upton, who's been moved to the leadoff spot, batting first for the Los Angeles Angels, and has taken to it. There's just no denying it. Okay, batting .275, 4 home runs, 7 RBIs, 8 runs scored since that promotion to the first spot in the lineup over the last 14 days. Okay, look at that sample compared to the big picture where he's only hitting .213. Now, even with that .213, guys, if you haven't paid attention, Justin Upton is still very good at hitting the ball over the fence. 12 homers, 24 RBIs on the season. Now, he still strikes out a ton. He's got 57 strikeouts and 164 at-bats at this point in the season. Okay, only 13% rostered, though. It's tough for me to keep 12 home runs on the waiver wire in 87% of leagues, but that's where Justin Upton currently is sitting. He's taken to the leadoff spot. His batting average has climbed since he's been moved there. He's continuing to hit the ball over the fence as well for the Angels. And finally, if you need a batting average boost, and that's all this player is really giving you right now, but that's Josh Reddick now of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Okay? Played only 15 games so far for Arizona and is hitting. Now, he's not hitting for any power. He hasn't hit a home run. He hasn't stolen a base. So that's the problem with a player like Josh Reddick is he's really a one-category guy, and that one category is batting average, which might right now be the most difficult category to fill. Okay, he's sitting at only 4% rostered, He's hitting .356 over his last 14, .321 on the season. So again, it's not fun, right? He's not stealing bases. He's not hitting home runs. I get all of that. But he's hitting. And he's hitting for a high batting average. So if you're rolling with a Justin Upton for the power, Josh Reddick's batting average maybe helps pull up the downside of Justin Upton hitting .213 on the season or whatever it may be. All right, everybody. Guys, don't forget, head over to Twitter and give me a follow at Aniano Fantasy. Okay, don't forget, head over to rotoballer.com and check out all that great content using the promotional code ACES to save yourself a little bit of money. Be sure to stay right here at the RotoBaller YouTube channel. Check out all the great content, including the Week 11 pitcher waiver wire and all the other great stuff from the rest of the crew at rotoballer.com. All right, everybody, stay smart, stay safe. We'll see you next time right here on RotoBaller Radio. Have a good one, folks.